Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. You see, for the last couple of days, everything that we are seeing, anything and everything that is being shown on television is about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to United States of America. Every channel, every newspaper, every social media, whatever we see, everything is about United States. Everything is about Narendra Modi's visit to United States. Now, a lot of things are spoken about the visit. A lot of things are said. A lot of things are projected about the visit. Now, what I intend to do in this editorial is primarily remove all the frills and come to the fact of what we got out of that visit from Mr. Narendra Modi, and also clear some narratives that has been promoted in India during his visit. Let's clear those also, so that you see, like I always say, information is empowerment. So let us understand a few things, and let us also understand what we got out of this visit. That's my editorial today. Let's get right into the show. Now, I'm going to talk on three topics, and I'm going to give my observation on an observation that Barack Obama has made. So my first topic is about the state dinner. Who is normally invited for the state dinner, and is Narendra Modi the first person to be invited for the state dinner? That's the first thing we'll talk about. The second thing we'll talk about is the joint meeting of US Congress address. The Prime Minister addressed the joint meeting of US Congress. Again, same thing. Is it big? Is it that big? And is he the first person to do that? Let's discuss that. The third point is the most important point. What did we get out of all this? What did we get? That's the point number 3. And the last is an observation that the former president of United States of America, Mr. Barack Obama, made in his interview to CNN in United States. So that's my topic. That's my, like I told you, that's what I'm going to discuss. So let's start with the first. That is the US state dinner. Now, US state dinner is indeed a very prestigious invite. The President of United States invites the visiting head of state for a dinner, and this dinner is basically, a couple of things that are significant about this dinner is includes a 21-gun salute, a White House arrival ceremony, and an invitation to stay at the Blair House, that is United States US President's guest house across Pennsylvania Avenue. So it's a very prestigious thing. It is not given to everybody. That is a fact. It is not given to everybody. In fact, Biden has only invited 2 presidents in his tenure till now. One is South Korean president, and second is France president, that's Emmanuel Macron. South Korean president, Yoon Sung Yeol. So 2 people he has invited till now. The third person getting a state dinner from Joe Biden is Mr. Narendra Modi. So that is a fact. Now let us understand, what does this dinner signify? This dinner signifies that the country that the head of state is representing is a very important country to the United States. I repeat, the country that the head of state represents is a very important country, strategically, economically, ally-wise, and whatever, is very important to the United States. And that is where you get the invite. And that's how it has always been. So that's what is the US state dinner all about. And let me also tell you that we have a fairly large list of people who have been invited for state dinner from India. And this starts with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in 1961. Then Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan in 1963, who was the president then. Mrs. Indira Gandhi in 1971. Morarji Desai in 1978, Indira Gandhi again in 1982, Rajiv Gandhi in 1985, Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 2000, Manmohan Singh in 2005, Manmohan Singh in 2009, and now in 2023, Mr. Narendra Modi. I repeat, a state dinner is kept for a visiting head of state where the United States of America believes that the country that the visiting state head represents is very important to United States. That's point number one. Now let us get into point number two, the US joint session or the joint meeting of the US Congress. Now let me give you a small understanding of what this is. This is basically a joint meeting takes place when the House and the Senate agrees to recess and meet with the other chamber. The purpose of a joint meeting has usually been for Congress to hear an address of an important figure, generally a visiting foreign leader. The practice became a standard part of foreign leaders' state visit to the United States after 1945. Again, the same thing. When you have an important person or a state leader who represent a country which the United States of America finds important, then that gentleman or lady is invited to address the joint meeting of US Congress. This is what it is. Now, again, let me tell you who are the people who have addressed the joint meeting of the US Congress. The joint meeting has been addressed again by Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, 1949, Rajiv Gandhi, 1985, P.V. Narasimha Rao, 1994, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, 2000, Manmohan Singh, 2005, and PM Modi, 2016, and PM Modi again 2023. In this case, the joint meeting of Congress case, PM Modi has addressed the joint meeting of US Congress twice. He is the first Prime Minister to address the joint meeting of US Congress twice. So that's the story. So again, here too, before I go to my next topic, a person is invited, a state head is invited if the country, United States, finds the state head, the country that the state head represents, important to United States economically or bilaterally or strategically. So that's the point. Okay, now, so let's keep this on the side. Now let us come to what are the vital agreements that we signed. Now here Prime Minister Modi has scored well. The important agreements that we signed, the General Electric and Hindustan Aeronautical Limited announced that they have signed a big ticket MOU. MOU is Memorandum of Understanding for the co-production in India of GE 414 jet engines for the Tejas Mk2 light combat aircraft. This is big. This is big. Second, the defense ministries of the two countries has launched the inaugural session of an innovation platform called Index X in Washington, D.C. on the 21st of June, hosted by the US-India Business Council, USIBC, to foster defense industrial collaboration. This is the second achievement. The third big achievement is US semiconductor technology and chip maker Micron Technologies Incorporated said it would invest up to $825 million in a new chip assembly and test faculty in Gujarat, which would bolster by investment from the Indian government and Gujarat state government, totaling to 2.75 billion in all. So this is basically a partnership between Gujarat and Indian government and a chip manufacturing company called Micron Technologies Incorporated. So this also is a fairly significant sign up. The fourth achievement is in space cooperation. India is signing on a framework of 25 countries for space exploration and cooperation. Two countries have agreed on a framework for human space flight this year and have agreed a mission to the International Space Station in 2024. Very, very significant achievement. Now, another good news for people who are looking at visa for United States, after years of pandemic-induced visa slowdown, the US is announcing a pilot program to renew visas domestically. That is, applicants do not have to travel outside to get their renewal stamp for certain petition-based temporary workers. This program could expand to cover H1B and L-skill visa by 2024 to other categories eventually. So this is big. Now, it also important is that it will open 2 new consulates in Bangalore and Ahmedabad. India will reopen the consulate in Seattle and announce new consulate elsewhere in United States of America. These are very significant achievements. Now, this is the real facts from whatever we saw in the last couple of days. This is what is achieved. Looks like Gujarat has done well as far as this particular tour is concerned, more than most of the other states. But all the same, the investment is coming into India. Now, this is what the story is. This is what they achieved. Now, let me get to my last part. My last part is about Mr. Barack Obama's observation. You see, the reason I'm talking about this is because I found his interview in CNN very interesting. A couple of things he made it very clear. You see, he almost exposed the US policies to the world. He said, as a president, when I met other state heads, he said, I was very clear that, these state heads that I'm meeting, the countries that they represent and these state heads do not practice the ideal, democratic processes in their country. He said, I knew that. But then I keep that aside, he said, because for me, I have to look at the larger good. Larger good of the world and of course, larger good of his own country. So when the larger good is involved, especially of his own country, which is what I believe, what they give, what they talk about human rights and what they talk about democratic processes and all takes backseat. The larger good is discussed first. This is what he said in the interview, sum and substance. Another thing that he said, and I quote, is if the US president meets Prime Minister Modi, then the protection of Muslim minority in Hindu majority India is worth mentioning. If I had a conversation with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who I know well, part of my argument would be that if you don't protect the rights of ethnic minorities in India, there is a strong possibility that India would at some point start pulling apart. He said, we have seen what happened when you start getting those kinds of large internal conflict, so that would be contrary to the interest not only to the Muslim India, but also to the Hindu India. I think it is important to be able to talk about these things honestly, he said. Correct. He is not the president. So, if he was the president, he himself agreed that maybe I wouldn't talk. I would look at the larger picture first. But he says, the president should talk about these issues with the Indian Prime Minister. Like I told you yesterday, I repeat myself today, I don't think such discussions will happen because current president of United States will look at larger picture, interest of United States and how United States can benefit out of India, and I'm sure India will look as to how we can benefit out of United States. So that's what's going to be the discussion. So broadly, in the last 15 minutes, what I've tried to cover are some facts and what we achieved out of this US visit of our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. Till I see you next time, that is tomorrow at 10. Take care and namaskar.